This is the hand where I almost blew it.
This is the luckiest hand I ever played.
This was the most important hand of my life.
I was playing in the ladies event for the World Series circuit. I was playing 12, 13 hours. I never got aces, I never got kings. It was getting really frustrating. So as it turns out, I'm heads up. She kept raising and raising every pot. I just couldn't get good cards. It was driving me crazy. I had 4 or 5 of hearts. Turns out to be the final hand. She raised a hand, I re-raised. She just flatted. The flop came 9, 3, 7. I have 4 or 5 of hearts, absolutely nothing, but I got a ball. But I just don't think she can have a hand because she raised and then she called my raise, so I just gave her big cards. So I raise, she re-raises, I jam it in. Her face dropped. I just thought she wouldn't call it off with one pair. She maybe thought I was defending with some small cards, so I might have a hand here. So I thought I just could get her to fold. I wasn't banking on my hand, obviously being the best when it was only 5 high. And she called. As it turns out, she has 9-3. So she has 2 pair, and I have nothing but 5 high and I got a ball. She's like, got her. Yes, she was snapping those cards. So happy to get them all showed up on the table. She couldn't wait. And then I was like, oops, oh well. And she was already like high-fiving her friend and all. It was like a done deal. The turn comes a queen. Queen is no help to nobody. It's a dead card. And the only card that can help me at this point is the 6. Obviously, if I hit one of my pairs, it's not good because she has 2. I just leaned to the dealer next to me. You still got another chance. And boom. He puts the 6 of diamonds on the river for a gut shot. And she was pissed. And I won, so it was good.
This past summer, the World Series of Poker is going on out in Las Vegas. It's a $10,000 buy-in with usually about 7,000 people. And somehow, with 15 people left, there I am still in. And this kid, Dan Ott, who I had not played with yet up to this point, he raises in the hijack, and it folds to me in the small blind, and I have King Jack offsuit. King Jack offsuit in the small blind is not a good enough hand to call with because you're out of position. Position is probably the most important thing in poker. You can either elect to check and see the next card, or bet and make me pay to see the next card. So when you're in the worst position, you don't want to be calling too much. I decided to re-raise him, we'll call it a semi-bluff, because I do have a decent hand, but I want to be the aggressor. I want to pretend like I have aces, and if I had aces, this is what I would do. And I go ahead and re-raise him from the small blind. It folds back to Dan, and he quickly decides to put in a 4th bet. We call it 4-betting, where he re-raises me and comes over the top. But he did it so fast, I didn't really believe him. Because I thought if he had a really good hand, like aces or kings, he would at least contemplate just calling. Because at this point in the tournament, he might want to consider trapping me if he has a hand like aces or kings, and maybe let me bluff off like I'm doing. So I sat there and said, you know what, I shouldn't be doing this, but looked at the dealer and said the words, all in. Dan didn't look thrilled about it. I was hoping he would just fold and get out of the way. But he quickly called with ace-king. Here I am with just king-jack. So he had me dominated for a 40 million chip pot with 15 left in the main event before the flop. The board did not come with the jack. I lost the pot, which left me down to 20 million. And now he was the one with 40 million in a good spot to potentially take the chip lead into the final table. So basically, the point is that I was second in chips at this point, and I didn't need to take the risk. I could have gotten lucky there and beat him, but the skill part is that I made a bad play to get myself into a situation where I needed to get lucky, and I didn't, And you just got to deal with it and get back to playing. But as they say, sometimes in life, all you need is a second chance, because 2 hands later, he went all in, and I proceeded to call him very fast, and he had King Jack this time for an open-ended straight draw. I had kings. I held, doubled right back up to 40 million, and went on to win the tournament. Sometimes in life, all you need is a second chance, and I do regret making the play I did, but you can't do anything about it, and that's poker.
We were in Atlantic City and we were playing the Borgata $560 million guarantee tournament. We made day 3, which is usually the final day of most tournaments. Started the day, we got a bunch of chips. By the time we got to 9-handed, we had almost all the chips. Continued to play, we got down to 4-handed. I was now guaranteed $119,000. Then I probably played the most important hand in my life with a woman named Nancy Wynn. She's very aggressive, very tough to play against. I had about close to 5 million in chips and she had about 4.8. If she wins that hand, I have maybe 200K left and I'm decimated. It's over. I was dealt ace 7 of clubs. It's a pretty good, strong hand. The big blind was 120,000. I had raised to 240,000. She raised me to 480,000. I called. The flop came out 10-9-8. Pretty good flop for me because I flopped an open-ended straight draw. I needed a 6 or a jack to make a straight. I checked and she bet 800K and I proceeded to go all in, hoping that she would fold, but if she didn't, at least I had a straight draw. She jumped out of her seat, she looked at me and she told me that she knew that I was gonna do that. She made the call with 2 queens. Now I needed an ace or a 6, and if I lost this hand, I was pretty much out this tournament. The turn was a 3 of diamonds. Doesn't change anything, and came down to the last card. I'm sitting there patiently waiting for another card that hopefully will change my life. The river was a 6 of diamonds, which literally sucked the air out the room. It was probably the greatest feeling I'll ever have. I then went on to win the tournament for $352,000 and a gold ring. My son was just turning 1 and my wife was pregnant with another son of mine. So it's pretty cool.
At the end of the day, a good poker player doesn't let luck define them. You get lucky, you get unlucky, but the skill is just understanding your opponents and how they think and making the right decisions based off of that.
Players are getting better and better. There's so much information now online. It's really a tough game to beat if you're going to play for a living.
You can never conquer it. It's constantly changing. It's constantly adjusting. People are always getting better. And it's just a great social game.